Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our Max Minutes. My name is Marian Phillips. I am the Research Manager for Georgia Power's Community and Economic Development Department, and I am also the Data Chair for the Data Council here at Max. So I'm going to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We're so happy to have you on this Friday morning. So first, I want to give a special thank you to all our anchor supporters. You can see here, WorkSource Georgia, the state, Metro Atlanta Chamber, Goodwill of North Georgia, Career Rise, BDI, and First Step Staffing for Good. So to give a brief overview of our agenda, I am doing our welcome and introductions this morning, and then I will kick it over to Daniela Perry, who is our moderator, and she will introduce Mary Baxter from Georgia Piedmont Technical College to do our Bridging the Gap for Global Talent presentation. We'll have a Q&A, and then I will close us out with some updates and officially adjourn our meeting. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Daniela.
Thanks so much, Marian. We are so excited to have Mary with us this morning. Mary is the Instructional Coordinator for Adult Education at Georgia Piedmont Technical College, and she's going to share a lot of great information with us about a new program they have started at their Clarkston campus. So Mary, I'll turn it over to you to share your screen and get us started this morning.
Great, thank you so much. Let me pull up my slides. All right. So I just want to thank the board for asking me to present today. I'm really excited to be here. I've seen a lot of information from Max Minutes, from your webinars. We've certainly shared a lot with our staff and really appreciate all the things that you all are doing to connect and support the workforce development community. So it really is an honor to be here with you today. So in line with workforce development, I'm excited to share our education and workforce initiatives here at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. So first, I'm going to give an overview of our program and then dive into what some of these initiatives are. So I'm in the Adult Education Department, which is one of the departments at GPTC, along with Technical Education, which is our credit side. Typically, that's what most of you typically would think of when you hear the word technical college. It's a lot of those hands-on degree programs. And then there's also an economic and continuing development department. And so those are the three main departments within a technical college. So at GPTC, we have those three, and our program specifically is adult education focused on community education for adults. So GPTC is, our main campus is in Clarkston, Georgia, but we have campuses in other parts of DeKalb County and as well as Newton and Rockdale counties. So those are the three main counties that we serve. So within adult education at GPTC, we have several programs. One of those programs is our GED and HiSET program, and that is a program that prepares students who want to obtain their high school equivalency. So maybe they had to drop out of high school or didn't get all the way through school for various reasons, and so they're working to obtain that equivalency diploma. The next program that we have is our ESL program. That's our English as a Second Language program. So that's for students in the community who do not speak English as a native language and who are seeking ways to learn English. And then the newest program we have is our Ready Step Leap program, and that's what I'll be focusing most of this presentation on. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. So our typical enrollment is approximately 3,000 students annually. We have a really large student body. And last year, however, fiscal year 21, obviously it was the global pandemic. So we had a very different year from what we normally have. Our student numbers were different. As you all experienced, our work was very different. So on March 12th of 2020, our teachers left the classroom from the day. They had prepared for their lessons for the following week, but then the 13th, that was on a Friday, we received news that we would not reopen the following Monday. And so a scramble ensued to transition our fully in-person classes and work to a completely virtual environment. So before that time, all of our classes were in person. The majority of our work was in person. Intake, testing, all of these things were done in person. And so we were very unprepared for the pandemic and what it brought. But thanks to the efforts of a really dedicated team and a strong leadership, we began offering our first online classes within 2 weeks of having to make that transition. And so it really became an opportunity for us. We used that to gradually revolutionize our teaching strategies. We incorporated new strategies with online platforms. We tried a lot of different things and found what worked with our teachers and our students. We changed our processes. So we brought our intake and testing online and again, tried a lot of things before finding what works. And so we became very efficient online, and that shows in some of our statistics from fiscal year 21. So we had a 98% enrollment of online students, and that was in comparison to a 62% statewide average. So we really were going strong with our online programming. During that time, we also implemented a robust learning management system called Blackboard. And so we really worked hard to structure it in a way that would work for our program and for our GED side and our ESL side. And so we structured it really thoughtfully. We built curriculum into it, lessons, and then we onboarded students. And so that was another really innovative and different thing that we did during the pandemic. And so all of these efforts really changed how we do education even now. We still offer a lot of those online programs. Even though we are beginning to offer in-person classes, we still do a lot of our services online. And currently we have the second highest enrollment in the state of Georgia for fiscal year 22. So we remain one of the largest providers of adult education here in the state of Georgia. So just to break down our programs a little bit further, our GED and HiSET program, we have locations in DeKalb, Newton, and Rockdale counties. We serve students across the state though, because when we brought our classes online, we started taking the students who were a little bit further away. So our primary locations are in DeKalb, Newton, and Rockdale, but again, we do have those online classes. Typical enrollment is around 2,000 students annually. And we have a very flexible class offerings. So our schedules are very flexible. We have morning, afternoon, and evening classes. And then again, we do online and in-person classes at all levels at all times. And we do this because we serve adults, and those adults are working, they're parenting, they have a lot of responsibilities. So we want to make it really easy for them to attend class. It's important that class is accessible for them. And, you know, the online offerings have actually been a huge benefit for our students, not just for safety from the pandemic, but also because it eliminates transportation barriers. It helps them with their scheduling. We have students who maybe work a night shift, wake up, attend online class for a couple of hours and go back to sleep. So it's just a really easy way for them to get the education they need and in a way that's convenient for them. And then we also have GED classes in our local jails. That was something that was halted during the pandemic due to safety issues, but we recently restarted those programs, and we have staff specifically dedicated to serving that population. And then our ESL program, our location is in DeKalb County, but like the GED program, we are seeing students from around the state attend our ESL program because of our online classes now. Typical enrollment is about 1,000 students annually. And something pretty significant is we were still able to serve more than 700 students during the fiscal year 21 during the pandemic, which was much more successful than a lot of other ESL programs around the state. So that just is a testament to our staff's work to really engage our students and make sure that we built our online programs in ways that were accessible for them. So typically ESL programs may have a concentration of one people group, so maybe a large Latino population or a large Asian population. We have a very diverse student body, and that is one of the beautiful things about our ESL program. We're located in Clarkston, Georgia, and we have more than 50 countries and more than 70 languages represented at our school. So you walk down the halls and see so many different people, different cultures represented, even just within one classroom. Our students are refugees, immigrants, naturalized citizens, again, people who are here in this country and seeking to learn English. Like our GED program, we have flexible class schedules with ESL, morning, afternoon, and evening classes, online and in-person options. And then we have levels all the way from beginning to advanced. We call those, we number them 100 through 600. And we offer basic life skills lessons within the context of English, as well as citizenship, civics, and vocational skills. So that's an overview of our programming, kind of our basic programs in adult education. And now I'm going to talk about some of our recent education and workforce innovations, which I hope will be really helpful for you all and your workforce development efforts. So we have many Georgia residents who want to engage in economic growth and opportunity. Some of them, such as our foreign-born students, may be highly skilled. They may have credentials from their home countries or degrees or very strong education backgrounds, but those aren't recognized once they get to the United States. And a lot of them have to start from scratch. We have students who very much have that story. They're doctors or dentists or have master's degrees from their home countries, but they come to the US and they can't practice those things. Others may have the potential or the desire to enter a specific career field, but they face a lot of barriers or challenges, like not having a high school diploma. And so at Georgia Piedmont Technical College, we are committed to creating a clear path for that growth and opportunity, while recognizing skills and education that they may already have, or providing new skills for these students. So we're doing that through a program that we're calling Ready, Step, Leap. So here's a graphic for you just to have a visual. So Ready is the entry point to our program. It's those traditional adult education classes that I explained earlier, our GED and HiSET classes and our ESL classes. So again, that's the entry point into this pathway, into this program. STEP refers to a bridge program, which is designed to prepare students to transition from those ESL and GED classes into an industry pathway course. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about the bridge program in just a few minutes. And then finally, LEAP is just a variety of career pathway programs, typically 3 weeks to 1 semester. And these programs offer industry recognized credentialing in a high demand career field. So you can see the list in this slide. These are a few programs that we've offered or plan to offer. So we have cybersecurity fundamentals, we have manufacturing ready, certified nursing assistant, and then workplace literacy. So these are our programs that really provide students with skills that they need to earn a living wage. And ultimately, our goals with this program are to educate using concurrent and contextualized instruction. And we do this throughout the program. So students do not leave their GED and ESL classes behind as they progress through this pathway, through this model. That education follows them. And so as they progress through STEP and LEAP, they are continuing to receive that instruction in basic education and English language skills that prepare them and that help them through that pathway. We also want to engage students in economic opportunities, including credentialing in high wage career fields. And one of the ways we do that is we partner with employers who are ready to hire our students once they finish the program. They know that they're going through that program. and they're ready to offer employment opportunities for our students. And then finally, we want to equip students to have a clear pathway to skilled employment, possibly related to their own field. Our goal ultimately is to offer pathways that align with the experiences or the career aspirations that our students have. That's something that's really important to us. All right, so to talk a little bit more about STEP, that middle part of our path. So when we began these programs, it was a lot like this photo. It was like stepping off a cliff. We were trying to give students opportunities, but we weren't providing the path for them to follow. We weren't giving them the support they needed. And that became pretty evident in the first industry pathway we offered. So we had students from GED and ESL go straight into a pathway course. It was manufacturing. And we quickly identified a need with those students. They were very unprepared. The vocabulary was unfamiliar to them, and honestly, it was unfamiliar to me as well. So it was a lot of very complex, very field-specific vocabulary, high-level reading content that was difficult for our students. They weren't prepared for it. Even some math and digital skills, they weren't ready for, and the pace of the class was just too fast. They couldn't keep up. And these were our high-level students. We do not pull from our low-level classes for these programs. We really select students who are our higher-level learners and who we think will be successful in these programs. But even those students were struggling. And ultimately, the students did receive a forklift and OSHA 10 certification, but they did not make the Certified Manufacturing Associate credential, which is what we were hopeful that they would get. And so through that experience, we created a solution and we added a bridge to complete this pathway for them. Now, this model actually already existed in our ESL program, where we have an academic bridge class. And that is a bridge class designed to help ESL students who are about to exit our program prepare for GED or higher level, higher education. And so it teaches them things like academic vocabulary, academic writing, critical thinking, working with high level reading text, things that they don't cover in their basic ESL classes that teach life skills. And so we created a bridge that makes it easier for them to succeed in those higher level, higher thinking classes. And so we took that model and we applied it to these this new pathway, these industry fields. And so we created an industry related bridge to prepare for that specific career pathway. And we did this by taking vocabulary from the field, covering digital skills, language, reading skills, again, things not covered in their traditional adult education classes. So our first pilot of this bridge program ran this summer. We did it in cybersecurity fundamentals. And those students who went through that pilot bridge class are now finishing up the actual industry course, the industry pathway in cybersecurity fundamentals. And they're doing so great. They're highly engaged. They're familiar with the content. They're actually doing really well on their assignments, and the instructors say that they know the material. And so they're having much better success in this industry pathway than our students did who went through manufacturing. And it's because of the bridge. And so we're really excited to have seen those results. And so because of the success of this program, we really want to be able to expand it to all of our pathways. But we have some needs if we're going to be able to do that. First of all, we need curriculum. There's just not a lot of curriculum that is this specific. There are some curriculums related to industry training for adult education students, but it doesn't do the bridge component that we're looking for. And so our vision is to bring together a working group of adult education instructors and industry instructors so that they can work together to identify the specific needs for the material, the skills that they need, the items that they need to cover, and create a curriculum together, because in adult education, we just do not have the expertise in these various industry fields. I can testify to that personally, having tried to do that with manufacturing, which is very far from my field, and I was very unfamiliar with it. And so we really need the expertise of the industries. You know, we need experts in those industries to come alongside us and help us identify what students need to know before they enter these pathway courses. This is a curriculum that we would build and house in our learning management system in Blackboard that I mentioned earlier, so that we could use it over and over again and have a central location for it and just duplicate it out to our classes. And it would also make it scalable. We really want to be able to scale this to other programs around the state. This is the direction that adult education is going in, and we really think the Bridge program is going to make students succeed or help students to succeed in these programs. And so we want to be able to share that best practice with other programs around the state and make these curriculums available. So that's what we're really hoping to work on. And we also need instructors, one, to help teach these classes, especially the Bridge class, also to potentially co-teach the industry pathway courses. So instead of just having a separate contextualized adult education class that runs at the same time as the industry pathway, we'd love to put an actual adult education instructor in that industry pathway classroom so that they're helping students in real time and providing that continuity of support. And so we are applying for funding. We've looked at different federal and state funding opportunities. And we're also looking for creative partnerships with employers, with businesses, community organizations. And we're really hopeful to further this vision to open these pathways for our students. So to close out, I'm going to share a student story, because it's one thing for me to to share with these things with you and tell you how great it is, but it's really important that we share this from a student's perspective. And so I'm going to have a video from one of our students. Her name is Marbella. This is a picture of her here. She recently graduated from our ESL program. That's her at our graduation with our college president, Dr. Holston. She is a very energetic and driven student, and she participated in our cybersecurity fundamentals course. So she went through the Bridge program, and then she participated in the actual pathway course. And this really was a perfect opportunity for her. Marbella has her master's in IT from Venezuela. And so the cybersecurity's fundamental pathway really aligned well with her field, and it pulled in her prior experiences in education. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you all.
Hi, my name is Marbella Otero. I am from Venezuela. I live with my sister and I have a daughter. In my home country, I got more than 10 years of IT and security experience. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science and a master in IT and management. I started studying with Piedmont Technical College, taking ESL classes. Then one day I got an email about a new computer class, great news for me, because I really want a job in my field, and that will be the perfect opportunity for me. So they actually offer a pre-class called ESL Computer Bridge. Brilliance, because not everyone in the class have a technical background, so they base us in the same level before start the real class. So in this class we take we learn about basic vocabulary, terminology, principles of technology, security, networking, everything that will give us a good base to start the real class, the cybersecurity class. So we got a very good teacher and we learned a lot. Yes, I am pretty thankful for the bridge class and of course the cybersecurity class. And well, I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
All right, so that is all I have to share, but as you can see, Marbella's story is really inspiring and she's an incredible student, just one of many of our incredible students. So here's my contact information and I'll be happy to take questions.
Thanks so much, Mary. And just a reminder to everybody joining, you can you can include your question in the chat if you have questions for Mary about their program. I'll kick it off since it is a Friday morning and I'm sure everyone's filling up on their second cup of coffee. But Mary, I know you shared Marbella's story, but I was wondering too, just what the response has been from students that y'all kind of created this innovative program that really meets students where they are and really is enabling them to be successful, maybe in a way that the curriculum hadn't been before.
Yeah, we had a really positive response from students, especially, so Marbella had a little bit of background in IT, so she was already familiar with the concepts, as she mentioned. But for those students who didn't have that background, maybe who were still interested in IT but didn't have the experience, for them it was especially helpful. So they were able to start wrapping their minds around the content, around the vocabulary in a safe, familiar environment in one of our ESL classes with an ESL instructor. And so they also said it was very helpful. And I think also one benefit that we didn't necessarily think about or foresee was that a really strong camaraderie built among those students as they went through the bridge class, so that when they started that pathway class, which is a lot more intimidating and difficult, they already had a strong framework as a group to support each other and ask questions and kind of give each other confidence. So that was another benefit that we saw through it.
Yeah, I think all the best research shows that peer-to-peer network, it really helps you when you have an issue. You can say, hey, I'm sorry it's 10 o'clock at night, but did you figure out this question on homework or quiz or whatever? So I think that's fantastic. And I think so much of when individuals are new to the US, they've newly immigrated, there are so many things that they're trying to balance as they're rebuilding their lives and rebuilding their careers. What do you think has kind of been the most helpful thing about y'all's program and helping them kind of start that process of rebuilding their careers here in the US?
So I think one thing that helps those students is it gives them a vision and it gives them a clear, these are the steps, this is what I can do. Especially those who, again, maybe they have credentials, but they can't validate them. So some students can get their credentials recognized here in the US. It's a long process, it costs money. So not everyone's able to do it. And for refugees, they're fleeing their country, they're not going to grab their diploma as they're running out the door. And so some of them don't even have it. And so this is a nice way for them to have an entry point into a career field. So for example, with our CNA program, Certified Nursing Assistant, that's just the beginning. If they can get that CNA credential, they can then move on to LPN and RN, and it just opens up that whole field for them. So I think it helps give people a vision and a place to start.
Absolutely. And I think too, cybersecurity and healthcare are both fields that are super in demand in the state of Georgia and in the US. So, I think the earning potential and the potential for growth too, as they're moving their career and advancing, it's one of those things, if you're able to put in the effort, once you have those tools, you can really continue to grow and be successful, which is, I think, just really cool. It's not something that's just like a limiting factor, but your industry is continuing to grow and thrive, creating new opportunities.
Exactly. And when we look at new pathway ideas and new programs, that is always our consideration. Is this a high demand field? Are employers looking for employees in these areas? Is there opportunity for growth? And so we really want to make sure we're not, kind of like you're saying, pinning our students in or hedging them into this one small area, but giving them opportunities to grow even beyond what we do here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned that y'all are thinking about scalability and those new programs. Are there certain things y'all have your eye on, just if we've got folks that are interested in getting plugged in, or are there certain programs y'all are thinking of now or brainstorming with?
So we're looking at a couple of pathway possibilities. We're talking about EMR leading to EMT and EMS. So that that field, we're looking at a hospitality pathway, actually specifically for our ESL students in partnership with a local business that would provide some employment for those students while they're moving through our program. So we're always looking for ways we can partner with employers, with community organizations to build these opportunities for students.
Yeah, and coming from a business community perspective with the Chamber of Commerce, I think that's so important that y'all are really thinking about that. And two, that as y'all are thinking about developing new curriculum, that you also want the industry experts there to be plugged in to help develop that curriculum so it's so applicable and practical for your students on day one.
Yes, and I, again, learned that the hard way with manufacturing.
Right.
I thought, well, maybe I can learn about this. And I was because I was trying to explain it to our students. They didn't know what manufacturing was. So I had to look up videos, and I was, we need people in those fields who can speak to the industry and help us do it better as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a manufacturing expert. I can probably figure it out as we go bits and pieces, but in being an expert to be able to actually explain it to someone else, I think that's a whole other kind of level of understanding. Well, for folks on the call, how could our workforce developers, service providers, what's helpful to y'all as you're continuing to grow these programs? How can we be a resource to continue to foster this growth? I just think it's one of those things cool. It's just so cool that y'all, I think saw this need in your student population and saw the opportunity for these individuals to continue their career growth, and then kind of developed a specific niche, but that can be scaled. So kind of how could Max be a resource for y'all moving forward?
So I think just, again, those partnerships, knowing what's going on in the fields of industry and where the needs are, and even where employment needs are, and partnering with businesses who may be interested in hiring students, creating pathways specifically for employers. We've looked at doing that. And so those kinds of things we would be really interested in. And even if there are individuals who would be interested in curriculum development or, providing some of those materials that would be helpful for us to incorporate into our curriculum, those kinds of things would be great. And again, we need to collaborate because there are probably things that we aren't recognizing or thinking about. And so even just ideas that are outside the box that we haven't considered yet, we're always eager to dialogue about new ideas and new opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everyone too, if y'all have got questions for Mary, make sure you're entering them in the chat. I think, last question on my end, Mary, I wanted just to, what do you think has been most impactful about how y'all developed this program and kind of the implementation of it? What do you think has been kind of the biggest impact that y'all have seen from from Georgia Piedmont Technical College, and then also kind of from the student side too?
I think just the way we've been able to go about it has been impactful because, the pathway programs are mandated through funding. These are, again, I mentioned that this is the direction adult education is going in. And so this is what a lot of technical colleges are doing across the state. But having the opportunity to really key in on our students' needs and to recognize that it's just not working the way the traditional path is. And so having the opportunity to look at that and to think, well, how can we do that differently? How can we address that need And I think for students, again, it's impactful because it provides a little bit of extra support. A lot of our students being non-traditional students, so either English language learners or students who've been out of school for a really long time, it's not easy for them to jump into these pretty rigorous industry pathway courses. And so the more we can scaffold that for them and provide ongoing support, the better. And I think we can still improve. I think we still have ways we can improve, things we can do better. This is just the start. But I think we've already seen some exciting impacts come out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Marion asked a question about how we can kind of get the word out about the program to kind of our groups and our audience. If you have any resources, I know we'd be happy to kind of share them through the network so that we can share so that folks know kind of what's available, especially so close by in Metro Atlanta. It's a fantastic resource.
Yes, I have some flyers I can send.
Okay, great, wonderful. Yeah. Well, Marion, I'll turn it over to you unless we see any more questions pop up in the chat.
Perfect. Well, thank you both so much. Daniela, thank you for moderating. And we did actually get one more question in that I will ask. So Jennifer Cobb actually, sorry if she missed this, but how long does it take someone to matriculate through the entire program?
That's a great question. The answer is it really depends on the student, because the students I'm talking about who especially who go through the bridge and industry pathway courses are our high level students. And so if we have, say, a beginning level ESL student, someone who enters in the program and does not speak English, it's potentially going to be a long journey depending on several factors, age and educational background, those kinds of things. If a student is further along in our adult education part of it, maybe in those higher level advanced classes, typically it's a quicker road for them. So it could be anywhere from 3 to 6 to 12 months. Again, because we're not just trying to get them through the industry pathway, but we're trying to graduate them from ESL and get them their high school equivalency. So those go in tandem with completing these courses. So sometimes they might complete a pathway course, but still not be quite finished with their high school equivalency. So it varies from student to student, but that's, I guess, the best answer I can give.
Great question. Any other questions from the audience? Excellent. Well, I'm going to share my screen one more time. So thank you all for your attendance and your participation. Thank you also to Mary Baxter one more time. That was just impressive work that you all are doing over at Piedmont Technical College, and coming from the economic development sphere, you have no idea how important our partnership with TCSG and all the Piedmont Technical Colleges and making the kind of workforce world go round. So thank you for all that you all are doing and really meeting a unique niche, I would say. And also thank you always to Daniela, our excellent moderator, for all of her great work. So to close this out really fast, friendly reminder to become a Max member if you are not one already. Tons of benefits becoming a Max member, highly recommended. And if you are a data-minded person, I will also say feel free to join our data council. It's some of the greatest minds in research and economic development and workforce development. So plus it's also a good time. So we have a lot going on in October, a couple different events coming up with Max. The Max Talks. It will be in partnership with the Technology Association of Georgia, also known as TAG. So they'll be talking about the information technology sector. That's coming up on Tuesday, October 19th, from 11:30 to 1 p.m. And then we'll be having a Max Minutes. As I think many of you know, we have transitioned from doing every other week to just once a month. So this will be October's. It'll be on Friday, October 22nd at 9 a.m. And we will be giving you more details about that in the near future. So again, thank you all for being here. Thanks to our anchor sponsors. I hope you learned a lot this morning. I know that I absolutely did. And so with that, we will give you some time back this morning and hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you both, Mary and Daniela, and everyone for your time this morning. Enjoy your weekend.